So there were reports that Victoria Spartz, who is a congresswoman from Indiana, she allegedly had a conversation with President Trump that was heated, that he called her a fake Republican, that he said that he was the president, it was his way or the highway. And so that kind of went viral for a little bit today, and she was definitely the target of a lot of reporters, including myself and others. But she said, and she told the Examiner, that was a lie, it was fake news, and that the president's never raised his voice to her, and that he doesn't do that, and that she just was upset with the speaker, and that's why she was a holdout, but eventually Trump was able to convince her.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by congressional reporter Rachel Schilke. Rachel, we are living through the era of big, beautiful bills.
Yes.
Talk us through a little bit what the status of House Republicans' sort of budget finagling is right now.
Well, it was definitely a roller coaster, and they were able to adopt their budget resolution on Tuesday, which was a bit of a hassle. They went into the day where a lot of people thought that they were going to pull the resolution from the floor. There were 4, maybe more holdouts on this, and when it came down to about the afternoon, leadership said, no, we are totally ready to go. We're going to pass this thing. They got onto the House floor, and then it was very apparent that they were not going to be able to, because Democrats called in all of their members but one, including a member who was on maternity leave, a member who was just having surgery. And so once they pulled on the Democrats, they had a narrower margin, and it was clear that they needed to flip a lot of those votes. So they pulled the resolution from the floor for like 20 minutes while they tried to talk to the holdouts. President Trump got on the phone with them, and a lot of them had to go have private conversations with him, and he negotiated with them and made certain promises, and then they were finally able to pass it. But it was like a 3-hour ordeal, so definitely just shows how contentious this situation is.
And it also shows how difficult things can be with such a small majority. And you've written about how attendance and things like that really matter when you're dealing with numbers like this.
Absolutely, and it also has called into question the idea of proxy voting, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but basically it would allow a member to let someone else vote for them. And a lot of advocates have said that this could be good for members who have unfortunate health circumstances that they can't avoid, or for people who are on maternity leave. And it was a pandemic era measure that Republicans repealed once COVID kind of had subsided from the mainstream. And so a group of people in the House are trying to push that again. And so we'll see if that ends up coming to the floor. There's some movement going on there, potentially in March. And a lot of Democrats really said that the ability for their members to come in was great, but that maybe this is the time not to consider that proxy voting should be considered.
Which will be kind of interesting since it's happening at the same time as there's the big push to get federal workers back into the office.
Yes, and definitely that will be something that will turn Republicans off of this. A lot of Republicans have said that they don't think proxy voting is a good idea. They think that people who are in Congress should commit to this. This is their job, and it's just an unfortunate reality. But there are Republicans pushing. Representative Luna and Representative Lawler are joining Representative Peterson and Representative Jacobs on the Democratic side to push for voting by proxy. So there is some push for it, and potentially this situation, especially with a narrow majority, shows that attendance matters. Maybe some Republicans will get on board.
So you mentioned President Trump's role in helping the House budget resolution, and there was some reports about a specific member who maybe didn't have a very pleasant phone call with the president?
Yes, so there were reports that Victoria Spartz, who is a congresswoman from Indiana, she allegedly had a conversation with President Trump that was heated, that he called her a fake Republican, that he said that he was the president, it was his way or the highway. And so that kind of went viral for a little bit today, and she was definitely the target of a lot of reporters, including myself and others. But she said, and she told the Examiner, that was a lie, it was fake news, and that the president's never raised his voice to her, and that he doesn't do that, and that she just was upset with the speaker, and that's why she was a holdout, but eventually Trump was able to convince her. So whether or not that situation, a lot of members don't disclose private conversations, even if they are heated, they wouldn't admit that. I'm assuming some sort of conversation did happen, and I think that happened with a lot of different holdouts, but ultimately Trump was able to convince quite a few, including moderates. So he definitely has a lot of sway, and with this narrow majority, I think Speaker Johnson probably really appreciated it.
And of course, we're going to have to see when it goes to the Senate, all of these talks and negotiations and deals play out all over again.
The roller coaster is not over. It's definitely there's gonna be some hills and leaps still.
Hold on to the ride.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you, Rachel. You can read Rachel and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.